So after firing over 100 drones to retaliate Israel's military strikes targeting Iranian civilian and nuclear facilities, Tehran has now stunned Israel with a series of attacks with ballistic missiles. Visuals of widespread damage in Tel Aviv and other parts of Israel have inundated social media platforms. You can watch those videos on our Telegram channel. Details are on the screen. What's unique about these Iranian retaliatory attacks on Israel this time is that they have hit civilian areas. In the past, when Iran attacked, it spared civilian areas. But this is largely to balance the equation since Israel too had attacked Iranian civilian infrastructure, leaving dozens, including children, dead. As I reported earlier, Israel had launched an illegal war by invading a sovereign country earlier today by killing many top individuals associated with the Iranian armed forces and its nuclear program. This was a brazen act of aggression. But as expected, the West chose to defend another illegal act of its illegitimate child. Donald Trump, who won the elections promising to establish peace, was gloating about Israeli attacks. First, he expressed his joy on Truth Social, his own social media platform, before going a step further while speaking to ABC News. He told ABC News, and I quote, "I think it's been excellent. We gave them a chance and they didn't take it. They got hit hard, very hard. They got hit about as hard as you are going to get hit. And there is more to come, a lot more." End quote. This was in sharp contrast to what his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, has said in his statement. Rubio was literally begging Iran to not attack American interests in the region. You can watch my earlier video on that here. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer gave a late response, but he didn't leave any doubts in anyone's mind about his support for Israel's yet another illegal act. He tweeted, and I quote, "The reports of these strikes," see, he can't name Israel even here. So he says, "These strikes are concerning, and we urge all parties to step back and reduce tensions urgently. Escalation serves no one in the region. Stability in the Middle East must be the priority, and we are engaging partners to de-escalate. Now is the time for restraint, calm, and a return to diplomacy." End quote. French President Emmanuel Macron, he wrote, and I quote, "France has repeatedly condemned Iran's ongoing nuclear program and has taken all appropriate diplomatic measures in response. In this context, France reaffirms Israel's right to defend itself and ensure its security." End quote. Can you see his shameless support for an illegal act and violation of international law? Israel commits a crime by attacking a sovereign country and targeting nuclear facilities. And he condemns Iran in his statement. He was the same chap who was calling Russia the aggressor when he met Trump earlier this year.
Because, this war costed all of us a lot of money. And this is the responsibility of Russia, because the aggressor is Russia.
The double standards of these warmongers and racist clowns has no limit. When it suits them, they pretend to be the champions of human rights and human values. And when it doesn't, they don't even care about being seen as pure evil. For long, they have fooled the world, but not anymore. Can you believe that Starmer spoke to Macron and German Chancellor to unanimously agree that Israel has the right to defend itself by invading any sovereign country in the region? Do you still think people will take their lectures on morality seriously in the future?
A Downing Street spokesperson has told us that the Prime Minister has spoken to the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, and the German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, this morning, following the developments in the Middle East overnight. It says the leaders discussed the long-held grave concerns about Iran's nuclear programme and called on all sides to refrain from further escalation that could further destabilise the region. It says the leaders reaffirmed Israel's right to self-defense and agreed that a diplomatic resolution rather than military action was the way forward. They look forward to speaking again soon.
Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch, she was another politician gloating about Israel's attack. Watch her abhorrent comments here. She knows Israel is the aggressor, but she would still condemn Iran.
Iran is an enemy of the UK. Our security services have told us that they tried to carry out terrorist attacks on UK soil. We do not want Iran gaining nuclear weapons. And if Israel is stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons, they should not be condemned for that. That would be something that I support.
She thinks bootlicking her Israeli masters would fulfill her aspirations to become a future prime minister. She's being a delusional if this is indeed what she thinks. It's only a matter of time before she is kicked out of her current post in the Conservative Party. So after a gap of many hours, Iran overwhelmed the settler colony with ballistic missiles. Such was the ferocity of these missiles that even the American Iron Dome failed to intercept many of them. This visual broadcast by the BBC that you can see here was one example. This was in the center of Tel Aviv. Similar attacks and explosions were reported from Jerusalem and other parts of the settler colony. This also busted the Western propaganda that Israel had severely degraded the Iranian ballistic missile program, even though Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had warned of ruthless retaliation.
They should not think they carried out an attack and that it's over. No, they started this. They ignited a war. We will not allow them to walk away unscathed from the great crime they have committed. The armed forces of the Islamic Republic will undoubtedly inflict heavy blows on this malicious enemy.
Going by the success of Iran's retaliatory attacks, there is a reason for the US to worry. I suspect that Trump changed his tone, thinking Israel had indeed destroyed Iran's capability to strike back, and therefore there was no danger to American interests in the region. He would be thinking otherwise now after seeing visuals from Israel. And he has more reasons to worry since there are reports that the US took part in intercepting one Iranian missile. Listen to this expert on the BBC.
How Iran responds is going to shape the next few weeks. Iran might simply limit its attacks on Israel and hope to claim a symbolic win. It might do a more sustained campaign, including terrorism, not only against Israeli targets, but also Jewish targets around the world. But Iran might believe that the United States is part of this. President Trump's remarks that he knew about the operation, even as the United States was negotiating, create the impression that the United States was providing cover for Israel. The United States is assisting Israel with air defense. So Iran might say it's going to attack various American targets as well, and that would widen the war.
Even the head of the IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, told the UN Security Council this evening that Israel had committed another crime by targeting nuclear facilities of Iran.
In this regard, as I also reminded the Board of Governors of the IAEA, there are numerous General Conference resolutions on the topic of military attacks against nuclear facilities, in particular resolutions General Conference 444 or 533, which indicated that any armed attack and threat against nuclear facilities devoted to peaceful purposes is a violation of the principles of the Charter, international law, and the statute of the agency.
I said it several months ago in one of my videos that the only defense Iran has against the aggressors in the region is a nuclear bomb. It failed to work on its program. This was when we were told Iran was just a couple of weeks away from enriching 90% uranium to build an atom bomb. Ironically, some of the people who reportedly opposed the idea of taking the enrichment to its logical conclusion and instead trusting Americans for a deal were killed by Israelis today. This man was one of them.
Yes, we are ready.
Shamhani is one of the few people in Iran authorized to speak about the sensitive negotiations.
We can definitely have better relations with the U.S. Shamhani said that Iran is willing to commit to never having a nuclear weapon, to getting rid of its stockpiles of highly enriched uranium, to only enriching to a level needed for civilian use, and to allow inspectors in to oversee it all, in exchange for lifting all sanctions immediately.
It's mind-boggling to see Iranians not learning from a series of setbacks. Many experts believe that Iran should kick out the IAEA representatives, arguing that the whereabouts of Iranian scientists who were killed by Israel today were leaked to Israel by some of the individuals from the same agency. Meanwhile, there are reports that war criminal Netanyahu has secretly left for Greece just before Iran rained ballistic missiles on Israel. So much for his bravery. Several journalists shared the flight tracking data to support this claim. Clearly, we haven't heard the last word on this reckless conflict started by Israel. I'll keep you posted with more updates as and when they happen. Let's hope sanity prevails and Israel is stopped from setting the entire region on fire. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.